What's up, guys? Shifu Gregg, Shifu Lloyd from the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School. Coming to you guys live.
After 4 hours of Black Sash training.
These guys did really, really good. They worked very hard at training and doing their thing. So basically, what I'd like to talk about today is there was a lot of comments, a lot of good feedback on some posts that were going on about real martial artists and not real martial artists. And I'm hoping to get a hold of some instructors, see if they can come live, and maybe we can do have them come live and give their opinion on what they think and everything else, as opposed to just Shifu and myself giving our opinions of what's real and what's not real. Just for the record, being a martial artist, training spiritually, believing in what you do, training really hard, learning the forms, the weapons, fighting, learning all the aspects of martial arts. You don't have to be great at it or anything like that. You don't have to be the best at fighting or be the best at weapons, or, if you're putting your heart into it and everything else, you are a real martial artist. But I think the term, I think what people are trying to get across is, learning martial arts, it's a war art. And if you can't teach martial application that's going to save somebody, if you can't teach real application, if you can't put your techniques together and fight, if you can't demonstrate your art in freestyle sanda, you don't have, whatever you want to call it. If you can't apply what you're learning, not that you're not a real martial artist, but what are you learning it for? If you're learning it for just the benefits of health and just the benefits of learning culture and spirituality, that's fine. But again, if you're passing on this knowledge, your responsibility as a martial art instructor is to teach a war art, is to teach how to teach other people how to defend themselves. Martial arts in general, it's not like sewing or anything else. It's not like sewing, it's not like running, it's not like playing soccer. It's martial arts, period. The most basic, ripped down understanding is fighting, is learning how to fight. The term fighter or fighting doesn't mean sport fighting. When somebody says, for me anyway, I don't know what anybody else thinks out there, but when people use the term fighting, that means that you have an ability to use your martial arts tactically and use it effectively against somebody.
Shihan Allie.
Oh, what did you write?
He wrote, "Hey, Shifu's all is well. I agree 100%. It is martial arts. What else is martial arts? Military arts."
Correct. You're absolutely correct, sir. Thank you very much for putting that up. I appreciate it. Good to see you. So Shifu, what's your take on this?
My take on it?
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh,
here we go.
So this is the problem I have, because everybody's got an opinion and everybody's got their own idea of what real martial arts and what not real martial arts is and everything like that. And like I said, it's all about the reality of it. The reality of it. Now,
here we go. There's the Kakusamano. Put your 2 cents in.
Yeah, you got to have the realities of it, man. The reality is, if you're learning martial arts was developed for war and self-defense. Period. No matter what style it is. I don't care what style it is. Japanese, Chinese, Korean, whatever. It is a war art. Even if it's not a war art, if it was used by the public, it was used for self-defense, which means that you had to learn how to get grimy with it. Somebody choked you out, you had to learn how to get out of the choke. Somebody was punching your face in, you had to learn how to block. Somebody was trying to kick you in the private area, you had to learn how to defend against that. And they did it real time.
Enzo's on here. How are you, sir?
Hi, how are you? You had to do it real time, which means that back in the day, they weren't training that smart. So they didn't have pads and gloves and stuff like that. So if they kicked you or hit you, you had to block. So, it's you had to learn how to do it to survive. Basically, in a nutshell. Nowadays, you get into an altercation, everybody's got their cell phones out, everybody's on Facebook, and so everybody's like, oh, everybody feels liable. Block man, have to block and counter. Oh, okay. So that's the whole stipulation. For me, if you're learning martial arts for self-defense, you have to be able to apply it.
Without a doubt.
Which means, and a lot of people get this, which means you have to have some kind of experience.
Yep, you don't have to be great at fighting, but if you can't put your techniques together, there's a problem.
And the experience you have to have has to be either in a school, right? Or ideally in competition, right? And a lot of these guys, these fighters, make this a profession. Now that's a whole different other conversation. So we're not talking about professional fighters. We're talking about people. We'll talk about that too. But we're talking about right now people that are learning traditional martial arts or non-traditional martial arts for self-defense reasons, which means you got to get in there and get grimy with it, which means you're going to have to get punched in the face, which means somebody's going to have to kick you in the gut, which means somebody's going to throw you to the floor, put you in a lock, and you got to figure out how to get out of it.
So that you know what it feels like and you don't get a first understanding of what it feels like when you're outside and you get smacked.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it feels like and you go stiff and freeze and not be able to defend yourself.
It's exactly the point, because the first, you're in the school, and then the instructor's like, all right, guys, go light tonight. You spar and you go light, and I've seen a lot of videos with a lot of schools, and they're doing light sparring, and then they're wearing, look like they're on the SWAT team, because they got all kinds of like arm pad, shin pad, like they got breasts, and they're protecting the chest and stuff like that, and they got the cage and stuff like that. You can't feel what it likes to feel like getting kneed in the gut, kicked in the gut, kicked in the leg, if you got all your body armor on like you're in the medieval times.
I agree. So the bottom line for me, what I'm trying to say, and I think that's some great points that Shifu made, is that for a real martial artist or a non-real martial artist, and that, all these instructors, you got to come to terms with what you're teaching.
What are you talking about, non-real martial arts?
This is what I'm saying, because a lot of the things people were talking about, real martial arts, what makes a real martial artist? So if you're a fighter, you're a real martial artist, and if you're not a fighter, you're not a real martial artist. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe that, but I believe there's good martial artists and there's bad martial artists. And if I want to learn something, I would rather learn a martial art from somebody who has experience.
Who got kicked in the face.
Who's got experience.
Who got hit in the face.
Who's got experience, more experience and certification. So let's say if I chose between somebody who was certified and chose somebody who was experienced, I would go for the guy who's more experienced. And they're same martial artists, they're martial artists. They're under the umbrella of the term martial artists. But one has experience and the other one's just theory. Now, I don't want to work with somebody who just has theory, because what works and what doesn't work. I want to work with somebody who had the experience of going to tournaments, of going to other people's schools, and learning from other instructors and seeing how their style holds up against other people's martial arts, and being able to be experienced in all throughout that and understanding how and what works and what doesn't work. I'd rather have that experienced guy or lady. If you had two doctors, now they're both doctors. You had two doctors and both of them were training for 25 years in their field. And one had 15 years of actually getting grimy with it and cutting people open, and you had somebody who was doing it for 2 years. Which doctor would you go to?
Mm-hmm.
Which doctor would you want operating on you? The one who had the experience.
I want Dr. Grimy.
Dr. Grimy is it.
That's what I want.
So being certified and being experienced are two different things. And everybody's got to understand that. And I think that's a big point. And I think what's really valid is we as martial artists, we as training brothers, we as instructors have to come to terms with what we're teaching. Period.
Now, this is the thing for me. And this is how I live, because I got it from him and I got it from instructors like that. If I'm working or I'm teaching students and I'm teaching them road work and they're getting grimy with it and stuff like that, and I know in the back of my head, if I can't keep up with my students and smack every single one of them on the floor, then I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. The whole goal of teaching is for the students to be better than you.
That's right.
But nobody said it had to be an easy road. You know, so I'm not going to stop training. I'm not going to stop doing my road work. I'm not going to stop doing my push-ups, my sit-ups, my pull-ups, whatever I do during the day and road work and forms and stuff like that. I'm not going to stop because I know if as soon as I stop, students are going to come and pass you by. And that is the worst feeling in the world.
So is there any instructors out there that would like to be invited to just talk for a couple of minutes? I'm going to go through a couple of instructors out there, see who wants to be to be heard. I think that would be really awesome. I know.
Yeah, we want a little bit different.
Is Jose Figueroa out there? Does he want to talk? Do we want to invite him?
You know, I am available. Who said that?
All right, so you're available. So how do we do this?
We're still new at this.
We're still new. I think it's this button, right? Nope.
Nope.
Nope. All right, it's this button.
Yep, there we go.
All right, let's see who's on here. Hold on one sec. How do we do this?
Oh, goodness. We're botching this up here. Yeah, how about we just hold it?
How do we just hold it and invite them? How do we invite you?
Block. No, we don't want to block you.
We don't want to block you, Allie. We want to get you in here.
Yeah. Oh, let's try this again. Invite.
Now, where are the people that are on the video?
Oh. Allie.
No, he's no.
Yeah?
No, we gotta...
There he is.
There he is.
There you are.
Invite him. All right.
You're invited.
You're invited.
All right.
Let's see if it works.
Da-da-da-da.
Is he on?
I think so.
No, because you should be up.
He's got to accept it, I guess. Let's invite me, but let me sign in. Oh, see, he's not signed in yet. All right, we'll wait for you.
He's watching.
Oh,
Batman's watching. How are you, James? What's going on? So I want people to be on here. I want people to talk. And while people are getting ready and wanting to come on, I think what I want to do is do a little Melaleuca sustain.
Oh.
You know, without your sustain, right? It's so easy to use. You just put one little packet in this bottle of water right here and shake it up. You got 4 electrolytes opposed to 2 electrolytes. If anybody wants to inbox me and understand anything about Melaleuca, I would love to, I know this is a really bad plug, but I'd really love to hook anybody up who's interested in the Melaleuca. Sustain is really, really important. It actually has vitamins of C, E, and B12 within each pack. So you're not only just getting electrolytes, but you're getting vitamins and minerals.
I use it every day.
That'll help you train. So I think we gave enough people enough time, and I've been babbling enough. So we're going to exit my Sustain. If anybody wants some, just let me know.
So that is, the whole concept, of the real martial artists or fighting or whatever like that. Like it has to be realities to this stuff. It has to be realities to this stuff.
Ooh. I would like to hook him up.
Who's that? Oh, Shifu Gong?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is it right there? What is that?
On, receive invite. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right. Let's. Shifu Gun. Come on. Come hang out. Come talk with us a little bit, sir.
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear us babble all the time. So while he's being added, I want to touch on a little bit on the fighting realm and professional fighting and stuff like that.
Why don't you talk about another thing that
what was that?
That Alada had actually put up. He had put up about sparring, right? It was all about sparring and trapping.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go. I think that would be a good idea to go through that too. I don't think he's. Yeah. I don't think he wants to come on.
I don't know. I don't know how long it takes.
It doesn't take long at all. Yeah.
Right. But so when you work in your techniques and you work in your forms and you're working your road work, whatever you're doing, when it comes to I lose, do not see the invite.
All right, I'm gonna invite you right now because I think I got the hang of this.
There you go.
I'm inviting you. You're invited. He's
There you
connected.
go. All right, we got one! Yay!
How are you?
How you doing, sir? How you guys doing?
Good, doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Sunday morning. I normally don't do social media on Sunday, but I happened to see you on, so I came on board.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah. This is a great topic, dude. I'm always, trying to push this in when I speak to my students around other martial artists, and I don't know if we want to call this old school mentality really, but it really is kind of like how
nothing wrong with that.
We were brought up, right? This is how we were raised, and it's funny nowadays. I mean, there are school. I have a friend who runs a martial arts school, and he's a Taekwondo guy, and I love Taekwondo. But his specific school, they do their black belt test sparring. They don't even come within 6 inches of each other. So they're like, to me, I'm like watching that, and I'm like really weirded out by the mindset that goes on behind it. Like, because when my American Ninjutsu teacher, Sensei Vasquez, I mean, he literally kicked the crap every day. I mean, if we weren't beaten up and leaving with a bruise or blood dripping from our noses or lips, I mean, we weren't training. And we had a saying on the back of our jackets. It said, the best techniques are passed on by the survivors. And
well said.
That's awesome.
Well said.
I just pulled the jacket out of my closet, and it's an old bomber jacket. And I asked my girlfriend, my fiance, I'm like, should I wear this? And she's like, it's a little out of style, but it's just such a cool jacket, with the pictures and everything that goes what it's about, and that's what we really have here.
So let me ask you a question. So what do you think about the whole concept of real martial artists and non-real martial artists? And I know it's a very touchy subject, and I don't want to hurt and I don't want to offend anybody. But what do you think? What's your thought on this?
Here's my take, and it's a tough one because it's going to offend people, and
yep, and that's okay.
I don't care about offending people. They gotta realize they gotta wake up.
And what I mean by this is that I don't mean to offend people. We're not bringing this up to offend people, right? But to me, I'm a purist when it comes to real deal martial arts, right? So I believe that there's so much to martial arts that meets the eye. And you guys are very traditional kung fu stylists. I'm a very traditional Japanese martial artist, and it's hard for people to conceptualize what we do. We're kind of like it's almost like they plucked us from a Chinese temple and Japanese temple and threw us into the 21st century, and people are trying to how we think because they don't really understand it, because our modern day society is not about Sensei Arango. I'll tell you a story with him and I'll tell you the story in a minute, so hang on to this. But we're plucked out of like this old ancient mindset and then put in the 21st century and I just had this conversation with a friend of mine this morning, a student that's been with me for 19 years. People believe that they pay tuition so that they own the lessons, right? They own the instructor, they own the school. And there's nothing wrong with that, because in capitalist society, you pay for a hamburger, you get a hamburger. They don't give you, just a bun with nothing on it. You get what you paid for. So people think that because they paid for something that they get what they paid for, when they don't realize that if we charged what we were worth, it would be $30,000 a month, or more. It would be
well said.
You could never put a price tag on what we give, because it's more than just self-defense. It's the spirituality. It's learning patience. It's learning, how to cope with situations. I could go on and on forever. And, people just don't understand that, so like, I'll give you an example. My one student that I was talking to, he teaches a class for the blind. He lost his vision when he was training with me. He was a black belt. Now, instead of giving up and crawling into a hole, he teaches martial arts for the blind. But this year, Christmas time, he got 2 gifts from his students. Now, I could see if it were me and people pay me tuition. He doesn't even charge for his lessons, and people gave him 2 Christmas presents saying thank you. To me, that offends me and bothers me more than you can ever imagine. And it's not about the gift. It's just about giving back to your sensei, the old school mindset of saying, Sensei, you've done so much in my life. You're why I am who I am today. You know what I mean?
Yep. So very much so.
It infuriates me when that happens, because people, and here's the thing, people might think that I'm saying this because I might want gifts, or I might want people to learn this lesson so I benefit from it. But you and I both know the deepest lessons come from the struggles, the blood, sweat, and tears. When my teacher broke my nose and, did all this stuff, I was in pain, but I loved him even more because of the lessons I was receiving by this tough training. Right. And a lot of people are, I understand instructors are afraid to do that because we got to pay our bills. We don't want to scare people away. We don't want to be hard on people because we might lose them. It's a sad catch-22.
But again, so here we are. We want to teach real martial arts, but we don't want to water it down to the point where, you have all these people coming in and wanting to train, but they only want to learn piecemeals of the art. They only want to learn certain things of the art.
Yeah, first time they get smacked in the face, they're like, no, I don't want to do this.
And the sad reality of it is that if we're going to be teaching real martial arts, people need to know that they have to learn the whole gambit. They have to understand what it takes to teach real martial arts.
Let me shut them off.
Zong, sir, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you, sir?
We will be there on the
23rd.
23rd.
Dave, we got you.
I'm out on my deck. I apologize. I'm outside now until they calm down, my dogs.
Oh, that's cool.
So listen, here's the thing with Anthony Arango, my good buddy, right? We used to watch martial artists, and we would say things like, man, that guy can move. He's amazing. And then we would look at each other and go, yeah, but could he fight? And then we'd laugh to ourselves because, can he really fight? Can the guy really fight? That's the question. Can this guy? And I remember being a young martial artist and watching this guy. He was an Aikido master. He was breathtaking. I love Aikido, the flow of it and all that stuff. And one time at a tournament, him and another guy actually got in a real argument, and they ended up in a fight. And I swear to you, when they started fighting, it was like seeing 6-year-old girls on the playground, trying to. And I'm going what happened to the martial arts? This guy was really good at his technique, but like you guys said before, he never really had a real fight in his life. So you could talk about what kind of level of grandmaster you are, and you could go out and that street punk will knock you out in 1 second because that guy's been fighting in the street the entire time. So, what's real and what's not. It's real is if you could fight, if you could use your martial arts and defend your own life, defend your family, and actually perform the skill. And that's where I think the answer to your question is before, where, can we teach real martial arts? I think there's a small percentage of people that will actually do real martial arts. There's others that will train and be a part of our student body. I'm going back in now because they're done barking. But they'd be a part of our student body, right? And they'd train and they'd get semi-benefits, but they'll never be able to fight or really get out there. And maybe that's not why they're there, and that's okay. But we want to have those people that are real deal martial artists. You know what I mean?
I think, and I think the instructors, I think this goes out more to the instructors than the students, because the students are coming to you for a reason. So if you have 100 students or 200 students, they're not all going to be fighters. You can't make that. That comes from the inside and from the heart. But being an instructor, if you're an instructor, you better know what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Period.
But however, though, you mentioned it before, there are levels of doctors, right? There's surgeon, there are chiropractors, that's a level of doctor. There's Chinese medicine doctors, there are surgeons. However, interestingly enough, though, all of them got their degree, and one of them could have been out getting drunk every weekend and barely passed with a 65. The other one buckled down and living his life and being everything he should have been as a doctor. And basically, that guy is the best. But we don't know that because we go to their office, we see a degree on the wall, and we live. At least with us, we can fight, prove ourselves. we could do our thing. However, I'm saddened by a lot of this. Like I had a sparring class about like a year ago, and I hear the parents in the lobby freaking out. All our kids, I'm teaching the class, been doing this forever, and I hear and I walk out and I can listen to what they're saying, and they're like, "Oh my God, he got hit, he got kicked in the face. I mean, this is ridiculous." They're all like starting to coo in my lobby, and I freaked out on them. Right? In fact, some of them are no longer training with me. I kicked a few of them out of my lobby. But they're upset because their kids are getting hit. And I said to the parents, what did you think was going to happen? We put in a mouthpiece. We put on headgear. We put on gloves. Did you think we were going to like hug each other and then do high fives and leave?
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
But don't you get it? Like yelling at the coach going, I can't believe my kid got tackled. They're like, you're playing football. What do you expect? You're like,
that's exactly right. And that's the problem with today's society, unfortunately. I'm going to cut you right now. I want to try to get somebody else on. But I want to thank you so much, Shihan, for coming on. Thank you for talking. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for being our friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Be well.
That was nice.
All right, keep talking because I got to plug in.
All right. So wonderful points there. No, you're not getting up here. Get out of it. Wonderful points.
Oh, you little go, bro. Go.
From Shihan. Again, if you're going to be training martial arts and doing any kind of techniques, you got to get grimy with it.
So is there somebody else that we could talk to? Is there somebody else out there?
Somebody else wants to put their...
I want a Rango.
You want,
I want a Rango.
All right, we'll see if he's available.
He's a busy man. This guy is a busy man.
We need a YouTube show.
Hey, if somebody could pay us, we could definitely do a YouTube show.
It'll come down the pipe sooner or later.
One of these days.
It'll come down the pipe. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to educate. We're not trying to, like Shihan Allie said, we're not trying to offend people, but people are going to get offended. Me, personally, I don't care because I grew up with a lot of hardcore instructors.
Oh, he denied me. I got denied.
Let me see if I'm sure still watching.
No, I don't know. He might not be anymore.
No, he's done. No. Yeah, I grew up with a lot of hardcore instructors, and their first thing was like, you got to get in there, you got to get thrown around, you got to get grimy with it, And now I kind of have like a thick skin with it. When people come in, it's like, well, this is really hard. I'm getting hit.
It's all good. Thank you so much, Sensei. He's driving.
Yeah.
I don't want to interfere with your driving.
I want, getting hit and the kids, thrown around, and parents was like, but kids they got bruises and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's all part of the process. We had a mother who the girls who came home with bruises and stuff like that. And we said, well, would you rather get bruises here or in school when a boy is bullying them and they don't know what to do?
Absolutely.
So either way, they're getting smacked up. I'd rather them getting smacked up by us, so we can monitor it and make sure it's handled safely, than being in a situation where they don't know what to do. And that's the whole premise. You have to know what to do when somebody's threatening you or threatening somebody you love, and you have to put it in such a way where it's real.
And this is something that I want to stop you really quick, but we were talking about, traditional styles and everything else and how they're working and whatnot and fighting and everything else. And a lot of the traditional stylists out there, a good portion of the traditional stylists out there get upset at the MMA guys because...
Oh, because they're getting smacked by these MMA guys? Is that why?
No. Because basically the MMA guys are getting out there and they're showing their techniques and they're fighting. They're showing their techniques and they're fighting.
True.
So... the traditional guys are hiding behind a lot of the traditional guys, and I'm a traditional stylist, so by no means am I defending or anything. I'm just playing devil's advocate right now. But a lot of these traditional guys who are just teaching the martial arts as a martial art and spirituality and everything else, and they're not fighting and they're not teaching their students how to fight or how to apply techniques or anything else. And they're like, these MMA guys, they're no good. They're no good. They're no good. They're good. They're going out there. They're working hard. They're training. Yeah. I mean, everybody has bad apples in every system and everything else. So you can't judge by one person of like a whole MMA
and you can't judge by one school.
And you can't judge by one school. And that goes also for, you can't judge if you see a traditional stylist, and you can't judge one school from a traditional stylist, how all traditionals are bad and they don't work. That's all nonsense. That is completely stupid.
We've had plenty of people come to our place.
That's completely
traditional, non-traditional.
That's completely stupid. So we have to really balance that out. So a lot of these people, a lot of traditional stylists and non-traditional stylists, and people that are doing MMA and people that are doing all different styles, really have to buckle down on what they're doing as far as martial arts goes. You guys have to really apply what you're learning. If you're not applying it, you're wasting your time. You have to learn how to apply. Yeah. It's martial arts. It's martial first. No matter what you look at, no matter how you do it, you have to understand. You have to learn your self-defense. You have to make it applicable. It has to work.
And you have to spar.
Yeah, you got to spar. You got to get grinding.
You know, and sparring, because a lot, you know, like, and this goes with the traditional styles mostly.
Fight. Sensei, I love you so much.
A lot of students come to us from different schools and stuff like that, and the first thing we ask them, how often do you guys spar? Oh, we spar maybe once a month or twice a month. That's not enough. That's not enough. When we spar, you know, we always have a full class every Friday. And Friday night is our fight class. We spar every single week.
Brother Craig's out there. How are you? Hope
what's up, Ginger? We spar every single week. God willing, you know, whatever happens, we spar every single week. And not every week is slugging and stuff like that. We have different ways to spar, different drills, different types of skills that we want.
Breaking my house. What's going on?
Skills. Different skills that we want to work on. Sometimes we just tell them, oh, we're just doing hands as a couple rounds. Oh, we're just doing legs. Oh, you're only allowed to do this. Oh, you're only allowed to do that. That teaches you different skill sets and different timing. You know, because you can do it all day long, but if you can't put the timing to it and hit somebody with it, then it's useless. So the sparring has to be paramount in any kind of school. Don't care what it is. Period. So if you're learning how to do a grappling technique to take somebody down, you have to do that during sparring, because nobody's going to stand there and let you do it. They're going to boom, drop back, and if you can't get in there and grab somebody and toss them, then you wasted your time. You wasted learning that technique.
And if you're really tired in the middle of class and you're really, you know, you're exhausted, sustain. This stuff will work great for you. Got 4 electrolytes opposed to 2. I got to just keep plugging it. I'm sorry, guys.
I used it today because I was sucking wind today in class. You know? But that's the best way to keep up with your skills. Keep up with your skills. You know, nowadays it doesn't happen as much as it did in the old days. But we used to have just general people just come down to the school, and the way they wanted to test to see if they wanted to join your school was to fight. You know, I want to see what your school is like. I want to join it, but I want to spar.
See what material.
See what material's like. So now, if you, as an instructor, don't have students that in that realm that can handle that, or you handle that yourself, which is ideal, then you're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah. So I think, you know, this whole real martial artist, non-real martial artist concept, the biggest thing we really all have to understand is if you're an instructor, not a student learning. That's, you know, people come to your school for different reasons. You're learning what you want to learn out of the system. And I think that's fine. I think that's okay. You're going to have different levels of students. It would be ridiculous to think that anything different. But if you're an instructor and you own a school and you're running a school, those understandings apply to you. You have to know what you're doing. A doctor has to know what a doctor does
and be able to apply it.
A professional guy who owns a gun shop, who's teaching people how to shoot, has to know how to shoot. It would be ridiculous. You'd never go back there, right? Somebody who's doing archery, if he doesn't understand how to do archery, why would you go to him to learn? That's what the bottom line is. So if you're a martial artist, you're putting that up on the line. And if you're a real martial artist, you need to be able to be fluent in all the aspects of
So back to your point with the whole sparring versus trapping. Now you can trap, but you have to be able to apply that trapping to your sparring. And this is the difference.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're learning the trapping and stuff like that, that's great. But the problem with that is the opponent's not moving. in a real fight, nobody's going to stand there and let you trap.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to apply those trapping to your sparring, which means trapping is a what? Trapping is a tool for sparring.
For sparring.
Trapping is not, in its sense, fighting in its sense. And this is where people get that.
Yeah,
you know,
the striker, right? Just if you're a striker, if you're a grappler, it should be everything. You should understand the concept or the basic concept of everything. You might not have to be great at everything.
No, you're not great at everything.
But you have to have the basic knowledge and the basic concept of it. But again, they're all tools of sparring. Everybody should be sparring. Everybody should be sparring. Sparring is not just for strikers. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Sparring is for everybody. That should be the gambit of understanding. You should be able to apply your stuff in real time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's basically
somebody grabs you, goes to throw that punch, you know, you got to be able to move. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to move. And they got a glove on. If you can't get out of the way of a glove and somebody doing that, on the street, it's going to be even worse. Because you're not going to just get that one. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to get 6 punches before you even realize what the hell's going on. You know? So you gotta do it real time. You got to get in there and get grimy with it. Get smacked up with them boxing gloves. You know, get tapped up with them shoes. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. And when I first started sparring, I hated it. I hated getting hit. I hated getting smacked around. You know, but I knew what my goal was and I knew what I wanted to do. So I sucked it up and, you know, I became a better martial artist for it. If he didn't kick my ass in the ring every time, it's just like, get in there and go fight. You know, no prep, no pep talk, nothing like that. Just kick me in the ass, get in there and go fight. You know, we don't do that nowadays. You know, don't do that nowadays. Why? Because people don't want the liability. You know, nobody's gonna talk liability when you're mugged in the street and you know somebody's taking your ass to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all about, we have to understand our survival, right? We have to understand to learn to adapt and survive. And if we can't learn to adapt and survive, it's because our teacher did not teach us properly. We need to learn proper technique. We need to learn that. But again, it's also the student. Students can't blame the teacher for not giving them enough knowledge, because if you're the teacher and you're working hard and you're giving application and you're giving knowledge and you're giving real-time techniques and everything else,
and the student don't want to do it,
and the student doesn't want to do it, that's the student's fault too.
And they get their ass smacked.
Yep,
we had that a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, well, you guys are
you can't blame that on anybody. So you know what? We're gonna call this. We've been online for a while now. So
okay.
yeah. So we're gonna call this a done deal. But I just wanted to thank you guys very much. And again, if anybody's curious or if anybody wants to leave any comments and inboxes and everything else, leave it down in the comments down there in the comments, and we'll get back to you. And I want to thank everybody for actually watching. There's a lot of people. There's 6, 7, 10, 11, 12 people watching. And we've been on for a while, and I thank you very much. And the next time we come on, I'd like to get other instructors on here as well. I'd like to really get this going, where we can actually talk to a couple of instructors.
Like Shihan said, we're not looking to offend anybody, but some people are going to get offended. I don't really care, because the ones that are getting offended know that they're not teaching the right stuff. The ones that don't get offended know they're teaching the right stuff, and they don't give a crap anyway. It's because they're telling us to preach it, because they're doing the same thing. So the ones that are getting offended are the ones that they know are not teaching the right way. Shame.
So, and if you don't like what we're saying, swipe. That's it. You don't have to listen. But guys, I want to thank you very much again, everybody, all the instructors that were on here. Thank you for taking the time. Blessings to everybody out there. Thanks again for what my teacher always told me, that the tide raises all the boats. So if we're all teaching real martial arts, if we're all working hard, teaching real martial arts, then we're all going to reap the benefits of that. A lot of students we'll see a lot of students growing in what we do. And that's pretty much it. We really want to work hard, and we really want to strive hard to get this awareness out there, so that we have people going to schools and learning real material. You don't want to just go to school just to learn nothing. It's not what we're here for. We want to be acknowledged as real martial artists. We want to be acknowledged as a professional, a professional in what we do. I consider myself a professional. Shifu considers himself a professional. There's a lot of people out there that are professional at what they do, you know, and that's the only way for people to understand
traditional and non-traditional.
Yep, doesn't matter.
We get big ups to everybody
out there. So guys, thank you very much on behalf of the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School. My name's Shifu Gregg, Shifu Lloyd. Thank you so much, guys. Be safe, be well, love each other out there. Thanks again.
Shaolin out.